This is Set Him Free, Chapter 4. The sky was still pitch black when Virgil awoke. A morning chill seeped through the windows, allowing his dark purple quilt to appear much more enticing. He pulled the covers over his head, trying to gain a few more minutes of sleep, though his mind had already been awoken by several thoughts. Groaning, he shuffled out of bed, intent on finishing the day's tasks early to avoid confrontation. As he passed through the doorway, he was immediately met with the sound of clinking metal and the soft scribbling of pencil on paper. A small candle shone upon the kitchen table, casting a soft glow upon the inventor's face. Janice turned to face Virgil, having heard him walk in. "Wonderful morning, isn't it?" "Could be better," Virgil grumbled, rubbing his eyes and taking a seat in a nearby chair. "It'd be nice if I could actually gain some sleep for once." "That was your fault in accepting work as a thief." "I assume you already have your requests ready?" "You know I'm never one to disappoint." Janice held out the piece of parchment he had been scribbling on. "Location and items are on the list." Virgil took it, carefully tucking it into his pocket and sliding on his boots. "You may need these as well." The inventor held out a case filled with several lockpicks. Virgil accepted the small box, clipping it to a loop within his belt. "Thanks. I am solely providing you with the necessities for your assignment. You have no need to thank me." "All right. No thank you, then." Virgil snagged an apple from the bowl centered within the kitchen table, knowing Janice would scold him if he left without eating. "You've taken care of me since I was a kid. Seriously, Jan, you could stop pulling all this merciless acquaintance crap." "I have no idea what you're talking about." Janice's face displayed a mock-innocent smile. "Though, be safe out there. It may be dark, but that doesn't present an excuse to be careless." "Aw, looks like somebody actually does care." Virgil smirked, heading towards the door. "I'll be back in a few hours. Try to keep Remus from destroying the house while I'm gone." "That's like asking me to keep day from turning to night. Though, I suppose I could prolong the inevitable. Try not to get caught while you're out." "As if those royals could catch me anyway." Virgil gave a final wave, and then vanished behind the closed door. The cold air brushed against his cheeks, Eldon not yet warmed by the morning sun. He reached to pull his hood up before realizing he was currently without his cloak. That prince still had a hold of it after his last near escape. Just another reason for him to despise the flamboyant royal. Virgil shivered, running faster to escape the chill. He swiftly made his way into town, slipping through alleyways and ducking within the shadows. Each small footfall brought forth a slight uneasiness, the possibility of being found growing more likely with the soon-rising sun. He retrieved Janice's list, skimming the cursive letters. They wove through the page, listing directions to a silversmith shop located a mere streets away. It shouldn't be too hard of a job, especially since the silversmith would most likely be asleep. Virgil followed the orientations, hastily winding his way through the cobblestone roads before reaching the workshop. The cream stone building towered above him, lined with wooden accents and wedged within two other establishments. It consisted of 2 stories, the bottom holding various silver craftings and the top dedicated to housing for the silversmith. This made Virgil's job somewhat more difficult, adding to another person he would have to avoid within his venture. Silently, he crept to the door, retrieving the lock-picking kit he had been given. He carefully inserted one of the thin rods into the lock and turned it with no avail. This morning was already off to a great start. Virgil clutched a slightly thicker rod in his hand, again placing it within the lock. After a few experimental turns, a small click surfaced from within the bolt, bringing a sly smile to Virgil's face. He gently pushed the wooden door open, sliding inside without so much as a creak from the worn hinges. Inside lay various silver trinkets, each polished to a crystal clear. Scanning through platters and kettles, Virgil crept past the shelves, searching for what Janice required. Nothing of great importance had been placed in plain sight, causing the thief to have to seek more hidden areas. He pushed aside cabinet doors and pulled open drawers until he finally came upon what he had been hunting for. 3 circular washers had been placed within a cedar cupboard, along with metallic gears of varying sizes. Virgil quickly swiped the parts, setting them inside one of the pockets that lined his belt. Closing the cupboard doors to avoid suspicion, he wordlessly slipped back outside, leaving nothing but the missing supplies to indicate his presence. Clicking the lock shut, Virgil turned to face the waking city, though came face to face with a pair of emerald green eyes instead. Janice was going to kill him. The prince smiled down at him with something that could only be described as triumphant bliss. Virgil wished greatly to wipe that grin off his face and make a run for it, though that didn't seem to be an option at the moment. Instead, Virgil spoke, assessing his surroundings as he attempted to stall. "Fancy seeing you here, Princey. I didn't take you to be one for early morning strolls." "It seems I am full of surprises then. Mind telling me what you've stolen?" "Nope." Virgil popped the pea. "Typical," Roman muttered under his breath. "I suppose I'll just move on to apprehending you then. After all, I wouldn't want to fall short with my duties as head of the royal guard." The thief rolled his eyes. Yeah, we get it, Princey. You're a valiant prodigy." "Just let me be extravagant for a bit, though I would like to point out that you called me valiant." "I think I'd just rather be out of your way altogether." Virgil stepped to the side, aiming to get past the prince, though coming up short as he was immediately pulled backwards. Roman once more grinned, and Virgil glared at him in return. "Now just where do you think you're going?" "I don't know. Anywhere but around your irritating self." "I hate to break it to you, but it doesn't appear that you have much choice." "It's all on your perspective," Virgil proposed. "I beg your pardon." "Observe." The thief quickly advanced forward, causing Roman to shrink back in surprise. The obstacle-crowded streets did provide one advantage, allowing Virgil to leap atop a stack of crates. Swerving to the right, he nearly avoided Roman's grasp. Now, Virgil was about twice the prince's height, smirking down on him with a triumph of his own. "How's the weather down there, Princey?" "This is all just so amusing to you, isn't it?" "Sure seems that way," Virgil admitted, pulling out a stolen washer and mockingly inspecting its surface. "Not only that, but you tend to use a bunch of fancy words when you come exasperated, which is especially humorous." "Thy words hold no truth!" Roman exclaimed, flushing once his statement registered within his mind. "I hate to break up this lovely little conversation we started, but can I go now? It would be much appreciated if I could continue on my day with peace." "As nice as that sounds, you'll have to cancel your day plans, as you've managed to become a wanted criminal. Now, I order you to get down from there." "Nah, I don't think I will. In fact, the skyline seems pretty inviting." Virgil took a step backwards, advancing up to a higher crate. "Don't you dare," Roman warned. "Don't I dare what?" "This." Virgil took another step back, almost in line with the roof of a carpentry shop. "I thought the Queen taught you to use your words when you wanted something, Averil." The prince scowled, taking a step forward before freezing as Virgil backed away. He was a mere step away from the roof now. Any farther, and Roman would lose the chance of apprehending the thief altogether. "Oh, What's wrong, Princey? Virgil taunted, observing his rival's sullen expression. Can't bear to see me leave so soon? Psh, you wish! I see. I suppose you wouldn't mind me taking off then. I've probably taken enough of your time already. The thief stepped atop the roof. Wait! Roman called, causing Virgil to stop. The prince sighed, retrieving something from his side. If I can't arrest you, then will you at least allow me to make a trade? What kind of game are you playing? I'm serious. If you return the items you stole to me, then I will return something of yours. Virgil perked up at this, eyes growing wide as Roman held up the jet-black cloak. He stepped partway down from the crates, but froze just before he reached the prince's eye level. How do I know this isn't some trick? In all honesty, you don't. All I ask is that you trust me. Several doubts ran through Virgil's head at once. Who was he to randomly trust the same person he had been running from moments before? All he had to do was step up to the roof and make a break for it, though Virgil really wanted his cloak back. It was the one thing that grounded him when he felt his mind was spiraling out of control. The thief groaned, rubbing his temples and muttering something along the lines of, I am so gonna regret this. Reluctantly, he slowly descended from the crates, stopping just above the first. Virgil was a mere arm's length from the prince now. He retrieved the items from a pocket within his belt, motioning to Roman. Give me the cloak first. Roman tossed the garment to Virgil, quickly catching several metallic parts thrown his way. The thief then glanced at Roman expectantly, confusion crossing his face. You're not just going to arrest me anyway? Roman sighed. As wonderful as that would be, I asked you to trust me, and you did. Technically, since the goods have been transferred to my person before you reach whoever you deliver these to, you haven't necessarily stolen anything. Therefore, I will not take you into custody this time. He was immediately met with a look of disbelief, followed by a more gentle smile. You know, Princey, you might not be as bad as you seem. Why, thank you. Wait, what's that supposed to mean? All Roman received was a smirk in return before his longtime rival had disappeared from sight. The sun had just begun to rise now, the sounds of townsfolk waking up serving as a reminder that it was still only early morning. Roman desperately wished to remain in the streets a little longer, though he was probably already going to be in enough trouble for leaving the castle without informing his mother or any of the staff beforehand. How was he supposed to explain that a sense of adventure had led him to patrol the streets this morning? Well, that and Logan had informed him that criminals like Virgil typically worked within the dark, trying to avoid confrontation. It was only a short stroll to the castle, allowing Roman to arrive upon the gates within mere minutes. He snuck in through one of the back entrances, passing through the kitchens on his way. The sweet aromas always brought a smile to his face, and he needed that little bit of joy after having to deal with Virgil so early in the morning. He absolutely hated that thief and his stupid smirks. As he made his way through the doorway, he recognized a familiar face. Evelyn! He exclaimed. Such a pleasure to see you. You as well, the woman smiled, flour covering everything from her apron to the tips of her strawberry hair. I see you've already been out this morning. Indeed I have. It seems to be both a blessing and a curse as head of the royal guard. Understandable. Roman glanced down to the wooden bowl clutched in her hands. What are you making? She looked down at the bowl. Oh, nothing special. Just a simple spiced bread using a recipe from an old friend. I see. The prince took note of the open recipe book on the counter. I assume Nikita will be the official taste tester again? A soft smile settled on Evelyn's lips. I'm sure she would love to, but she's out on an assignment right now. She's been really busy ever since she was tasked with scouting the Northern Realm, though she somehow always finds time to write back about her adventures. I'm sure she does. Nothing can stop that girl from doing what she wishes. She's too stubborn. Roman chuckled. Nikita was his right-hand soldier, the two fighting side by side until Queen Elena had allowed Roman to patrol the kingdom himself. Now, Nikita had been tasked with protecting Eldon from enemy nations, all while occasionally managing the dungeons. She claimed she handled the second job to ensure Roman didn't screw it up, but the prince knew it was really to be able to spend more time with Evelyn. It was always amusing to watch the hardened soldier become flustered at the mention of a certain baker, especially since she was usually so serious. Seeing the soldier come out of her shell for Evelyn was nice, though. Roman knew Nikita needed a chance to laugh a little. She should be returning soon, Evelyn added, a delighted spark flashing in her eyes. She wrote that she would return to the palace in about a month's time as a special visit. Well, that is absolutely wonderful. Indeed it is, Evelyn beamed, eyes catching sight of someone in the doorway. I don't mean to halt our conversation, though it seems your advisor is waiting for you, Roman. Roman took a peek behind his shoulder. Oh, it's all right. I can address him later. Go on, Roman. You needn't keep him waiting for my small talk. Evelyn waved him forward, ushering him towards the door. Knowing Logan, you could be missing something imperative. Everything is imperative to him. Though, if you insist, I suppose I should go. It was lovely getting to talk to you, Roman called behind his shoulder. I hope the bread turns out well. With that, he had passed through the kitchen doorway, entering a broad corridor. Towering windows lined the entire hallway, providing the perfect dose of natural light, especially with the morning sun. Roman turned and was met with thick-rimmed glasses and a quizzical expression. I know, Roman lamented. I said I would catch him this time, but here I am, without success. Go ahead, tell me everything I did wrong. Logan simply chuckled. I was merely here to inquire as if you were victorious this morning, though I guess that question has already been answered for me. Still, if you wish for a piece of constructive criticism, I would recommend informing your queen of your intentions before leaving without a word next time. Roman groaned. Oh no, she's worried, distressed, disgruntled, vexed. Yes, very much so. I could expect as much. I'm going to have a lot of explaining to do. Not if you hurry. She may forget all about your morning endeavors if you simply apologize first. That's true, Roman admitted. How are you always so intelligent? Using common sense is usually an important first step, Logan deadpanned. Ha ha, very funny. But wait. How did you know the purpose of why I left this morning? There was no one in the corridors this morning when I snuck out. Inductive reasoning. That and the fact that I was awake at that hour and I did notice you sneak out. You simply didn't catch sight of my presence because your mind was too focused on other tasks. Of course it was, Roman snickered to himself, glancing towards the door into his mother's study. Any send-offs before I face my interrogation? I hardly believe Her Highness's concerned questioning could come close to an interrogation. You must not know my mother's true potential, then. The prince smirked, giving a wave before meandering towards the gold and white door. Wish me luck? That would be worthless, as luck does not come into play with life's doings, though I will hope for the best if you wish me so. Good enough for me. Roman arrived at the door to his mother's study. He raised his hand to knock, though hesitated. The white-rimmed door seemed so much more lofty than usual, towering over him with oppressing intimidation. Gold detailing that lined the priceless lid screamed cold regalness, almost persuading Roman to avoid knocking altogether. What was there even to stress about? It was only his mother. There was nothing to fear. Taking a deep breath, Roman stood as tall as he possibly could, rapping against the door 3 times, clear and crisp, just as he had always been taught. A voice called from the other side for him to enter, and, exhaling with a final courage, Roman opened the door. This has been Chapter 4 of Set Him Free. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you next time for Chapter 5.